Hey guys, it's Aimee, your golf coach. Welcome to Beginner Driver Series. If you are starting to the driver for the first time, or you may be a good golfer, you just need some help to get back on track, this series is going to be very useful. Today's the first episode, so we're going to go ahead and concentrate on the part of the swing that tour pros focus on the most. It's the setup. If you have the incorrect setup, now the rest of the swing is going to be off, so you'll be making compensation after compensation, which we don't want. So you want to get that setup correct, so then you can really swing it beautifully like the pros do. Let's get started. All right, I have a 7-iron and the driver, and I'll be comparing the two a lot during the series. Let's start with the grip first. Are you supposed to grip differently for the driver? No, actually you're supposed to grip every single club in your bag except for the putter the same way. Whether you are overlapping, interlocking, 10 fingers, does not matter. Go ahead and grip the same way you would grip a 7-iron. So let's talk about the differences between the 7-iron setup and the driver setup. With the 7-iron, you are used to keeping that ball position slightly left of the middle, but with the driver, as the club gets longer and longer, the body motion and the release point becomes a little bit different depending on the length of the club. Driver is the longest club in your bag. Ball position will be the farthest up in your stance, which is just inside your lead heel like this. That's the ball position for the driver. When I show golfers the new ball position, a lot of people ask where your hands are supposed to be at. With the 7-iron, you have the ball close to the middle of the stance, so your hands are almost in line with that golf ball. But with the driver, with the ball position so far up in the stance, you're not sure if you're supposed to keep your hands in line with that ball or behind it. It's very simple. To find your hand position, all you're going to do is you're gonna take your ball position. When you set it down like this, the face will be to the target, and then you'll notice that the grip end is pointing midpoint between your belly button and your lead hip bone, right in the middle of those two. And we don't want to see that hand press forward. A lot of people tend to do that, trying to keep your hands in line with the golf ball, which is a no-no. So let's get that ball position correct and hand position correct. Now let's talk about the stance width. With the 7-iron, the correct stance width would be about shoulder width apart, but as the club gets longer and longer, the circle that club head draws, it gets bigger and bigger. So that means your stability is going to get shaky. So as the club gets longer and longer, you have to widen your stance ever so slightly to really stabilize your legs better. And with the driver being the longest club in the back, you'd have the widest stance. So when you set up, if this is a 7-iron, you want to go ahead and move your trail foot about 3 to 4 inches out, boom, this way, to get your correct stance going. Every individual is different, but about 3 to 4 inches, if you start there, would be most ideal, and then find a spot that's most comfortable for you. So instead of moving your feet all around, get your ball position, hand position, take your 7-iron stance, and then just move the trail foot out to get that stance width going correctly. That was number 3. Now number 4, if you look at me from down the line, because the length of the club is a lot deeper and a lot lower, but since the driver is a long club, now you'd have to have less knee bend, less bend from the hips, so you look a lot taller. This is very important because it has direct effect on your swing plane, how you swing it. If you are too low, now your swing plane is going to be too flat, and you won't be able to get back to the golf ball with a lot of power or consistency. Now number 5 is the upper body alignment. If you look at me from down the line, with a 7-iron, because your ball position is close to the middle of the stance, when you set up your 7-iron, your upper body is perfectly parallel to your target line, so that means you're square. But now as that ball position moves forward in your stance, from the hips to the shoulders tend to open up this way. So if you have an open upper body, then you're set up for an out to in swing plane, making that swipey cut happen. So you really want to make sure your upper body is square, even though your ball position is farther up in the stance. To square up your upper body, all you have to do is push your trail hip toward the target this way. When you do this, just be careful you're not leaning into the left foot. You want to keep 50-50 in both feet and push that trail hip bone to the target. This is going to rotate your upper body clockwise ever so slightly, making you feel like your upper body is shut. It's going to also give you a little spine tilt, which is absolutely necessary for the driver swing. So you get two birds with one stone. Push the hip toward the target about 2 to 3 inches, and then that's gonna give you a tilt and square up your upper body like so. You can really start your swing more square. And hit it straight. All right, so I gave you 5 things right now. Before we get into more details of like hinging and coiling and all that good stuff, we really have to get comfortable with the 5 new things in the setup, which was the ball position, the hand position, the stance width, the setup angles, and then the upper body alignment. On every single shot until the next time we meet, I want you to do the 5 things, boom, 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 and then get really comfortable swinging with the 5 new things in your setup. Then we're actually ready to get into more details in your golf swing. If the setup is incorrect and it's uncomfortable, there is no way we can move on. This is a very important part of your golf swing. Pros spend the most time here. I want you to remember that. Before we wrap up the lesson, I want to show you how to tee up the golf ball. If you are new and you're like hammering down the tee with the golf ball, everyone's gonna know you're a newbie. So we don't want to do that. We want to look good. Golf, you have to look good when you're doing everything. So you're going to place the ball in your palm like this, and the tee is gonna go between your index and your middle finger. You're going to use this pad on your palm connected to your thumb, and you're gonna press the ball down. But how high should I be putting it on the ground? That's a very good question. So you want at least half a ball above your crown. This top part is the crown. So half a ball above it is textbook standard kind of height. You can start there and then you can fidget around to see if you like it a little lower, a little higher. That's totally fine. But start with half a ball above the crown is a very good place to start. When I tee up, I gauge the height with my pinky so that way I can tee it up the same height every single time. Boom, magic. So guys, once you get used to teeing it up and the 5 things in the setup I've shown you, then in the next time I'm going to show you this one little drill that's gonna get you to bomb it like the pros.